The Black Pearl Pele is the greatest player in the history of football, unanimously agreed by athletes around the world. In Brazil, Pele is considered an unparalleled national hero. He is the one of best in the history of football and one of the most goal-scoring players in the world with 1281 goals, and he is the only player in the world to win the World Cup 3 times. He was born in 1940 in the Brazilian state of Minas Gerais, and his name was Edson Arantes do Nascimento. He was born to a father who was playing for Fluminense Club. He was named after the American scientist Thomas Edison. He is the first child of his parents, and he did not get the name Pele except in school days. He was given this name because he did not know how to spell the name of his favorite player, the goalkeeper of Vasco da Gama, Pele. Pele did not like this name, and he was expelled from school because his colleague called him that Pele. But the name remained attached to him forever. Pele. The child at that time did not know that the word Pele means football in the Irish language, and in the language Hebrew means miracle. When Pele was 9 years old, Brazil organized the FIFA World Cup for the first time in 1950. And on the day of the final match between Brazil and Uruguay, for the first time in his life, Pele saw his father weeping when Brazil was defeated. It was only from the child that he said to his father, "One day, I will win the World Cup for you." Then the child went to his parents' room and stood in front of the picture of Jesus hanging on the wall and told him, "I know. If I were in the stadium, I would not have let Brazil be defeated. If you were there, we would have won." Pele grew up in a very poor environment where his father struggled to earn a living by playing football. Pele made some money through his work as he cleaned the shoes of players on match days. He learned to play football from his father, who was playing for Club Atlético Mineiro, who injured his knee, which he was forced to retire from football. Hence, Pele began developing his football skills, as he began kicking socks stuffed with fabrics in the streets. But he was often met with despicable treatment from his friends. Pele's first team was a team founded by Pele and some of his friends. They participated in many local tournaments and played in the final match. Pele even won the title of a top scorer at the age of 15. He began his professional career with Santos, and since his debut, sports critics predicted that he would be one of the best players in the world. And he scored the first goal in his professional career before he was 16. He was the top scorer in his first season, after which he joined the Brazilian national team and played his first international game in 1956 against the Argentine national team. Pele played his first match in the World Cup in 1958 in Sweden, and he was the youngest player in the tournament. He scored his first goal in the World Cup against Wales in the quarterfinals, and he became the youngest player to score a goal in the World Cup. In the semi-finals, Pele scored a hat-trick to lead the Brazil national football team to qualify for the final match, in which he scored 2 goals against Sweden, and his first goal was one of the most beautiful goals in history. After the game ended, he fell unconscious and was treated by the medical staff. He finished the tournament with 6 goals he scored. With 4 matches, he was the second top scorer in the tournament, and here Pele wrote an official identification card for the whole world and drew all the attention. Although he was 17 years old, he received huge offers to play for European clubs, but Brazilian President Jânio Quadros at that time declared that Pele was a national treasure for Brazil, so it made it legally difficult for Pele to play in another country. Pele was already a legend in every sense of the word. In the late 1960s, the 2 rivals in the Nigerian Civil War agreed to a 48-hour ceasefire so they could watch Pele play in an exhibition match in the Nigerian capital. The next stop in his life comes to his participation in the 1962 World Cup, and in his first match, he made a goal against the Mexico national football team, and then scored another after he dodged 4 defenders. But he was injured in Brazil's game against Czechoslovakia. But his team was able to withstand the leadership of another star, Garrincha, and win the championship. 4 years later, specifically in England in 1966, a series of brutal attacks by defenders occurred, which made Pele suffer leg injuries again. And because of that, Brazil exited the World Cup after 1 round, and Pele said after that tournament that he did not want to play in the World Cup again. But when he was called to participate in the 1970 World Cup, he refused at first. But then he agreed to participate to be the best tournament for him in the World Cup, where he appeared as the leader of the team and its first star, and won the tournament after excelling in the final match against Italy with a score of 4-1. Pele scored 4 goals in the tournament. After that, Pele announced his retirement from football in 1974, and according to the International Federation of Football History and Statistics, Pele is the most successful scorer in the world, as he scored in his entire football career 1281 goals in 1363 games he played, including informal friendly matches, and thus became the most goals scored in the history of football. The figure was listed in the Guinness Book of Records. Pele played 92 matches with Brazil. The team won 67 matches, drew 14 matches, and Brazil did not lose any matches when Pele and Garrincha were on the field. His retirement was not the end for Pele, but he maintained his popularity and activity in many professional fields, and held the position of Brazil's Minister of Sport and Ambassador of the United Nations Environment. He was named the Football Player of the Century in 1999, along with the Argentine player Maradona. Pele was a political heavyweight who spearheaded many policies aimed at improving the social conditions of humans. He was given several titles, including the Black Pearl, the King of Football, and other titles throughout his 21-year career. He was able to win 3 FIFA World Cups with his country, and he is also the historic scorer for Brazil, with 77 goals in 92 matches. His first marriage was to Rosemary dos Reis Cholbi in 1966, with whom he had 2 daughters, but their marriage ended in divorce. In 1982, he entered into a new relationship in 1986 with Shuksa, who helped her become a model, and she was only 17 years old at the time, but their marriage ended too. In 1994, he married psychologist and singer Asiria Nascimento, but this marriage also ended in separation. A book was issued for the star, entitled 1283, and the book deals with his autobiography, and its title indicates the number of goals he scored throughout his career. This is in addition to his book, The Story of My Life, in which the legend tells the story of his life. The legend Pele passed away on December 29, 2022, and he will remain a living legend who was able to inspire the feelings of the Brazilian people who love football. No one will deny this saying in the football world: Pele did it first.